Let me ask you something real. Have you ever sat there, watching another video, another podcast, another TikTok, and they told you, make money while you sleep, retire by 30, build passive income streams, and never work again? And in that moment, didn't it feel possible? Like maybe, just maybe, this time it's the strategy that'll work? The course, the ebook, the secret method. You click, you scroll, you spend, and deep down, you hope that maybe this time, you finally break free. But what if I told you that entire dream, that whole system you've been chasing, isn't just unrealistic, it's engineered to trap you? Because the truth is, passive income has become one of the most dangerous lies in modern finance. Not because it's fake, but because what they call passive is anything but, and what they sell you is often worthless. Today, we're going to tear down the illusion piece by piece. We're not here to mock your dream. We're here to rescue it from the people who sold you a fantasy just to get your money.
And we're not pulling punches, Mike. This isn't going to be another 5 tips to side hustle your way to freedom. Because freedom doesn't come from a funnel. It comes from facing the brutal truth about what works, what doesn't, and what's costing you everything. I've watched too many people waste years and tens of thousands of dollars chasing the promise of easy wealth. They weren't lazy. They weren't stupid. They were lied to. And it ends today. Let's get into it.
All right, let's start where most people do, with the promise. You open Instagram. You get hit with that video of a guy in Bali, laying on a hammock, laptop on his stomach. Caption says, just made $12,000 while having coconut water. You scroll a little more. Another guy's renting Airbnbs with no money down. Another one's doing drop shipping from his car. And suddenly, you start to feel it. That tiny whisper in your mind. Why not me? Why am I working this 9 to 5 when they figure out the cheat code? And before you know it, you're in. Watching videos. Reading courses. Making plans. But John, let's cut through the noise. Were people actually being sold when they hear passive income?
They're being sold a fantasy disguised as a system. And here's how the fantasy goes. Work once. Get paid forever. Create one piece of content, one product, one deal, and it'll generate income for life. All you need is the right strategy, the right platform, the right timing. But here's what they don't say. Here's the fine print that no one puts on their thumbnails. Most passive income sources require constant marketing, platform risk, customer support, algorithm changes, burnout. So what you're really buying is a treadmill that's been disguised as a hammock.
Damn, that hits. So you're saying the money doesn't actually come while you sleep?
Not without years of work before that. And even then, most people never hit that sleep money. They just hit stress money, where your phone is blowing up at 2 a.m. because your Shopify store broke, your ad account got banned, or your course platform updated and now no one can log in. And here's the punchline. Most people who make real money from passive income, they make it by selling the dream, not by living it. They're not sipping coconut water. They're making videos about sipping coconut water so they can sell you a $497 program on how to do the same.
So let me get this straight. You're telling me the majority of these so-called gurus are just monetizing the idea of freedom, not actually living it?
Exactly. They're not escaping the matrix. They're rebuilding it with better lighting and charging you rent to live in it. They sell freedom like it's a product. But true freedom? That's not sold. That's earned with clarity, discipline, and long-term strategy.
Let's get into the heart of it. You see these videos, these posts, these stories. They always have that same magic phrase. Hands-off income. No stress. No boss. No meetings. Just money flowing into your bank account while you're hiking Machu Picchu or drinking champagne in Santorini. But John, you've worked with real business owners, real investors. What's the truth behind that phrase?
Mike, hands-off wealth is one of the most seductive lies in modern finance. And here's why it works so well. It taps into 2 emotional triggers, desperation and hope. People are tired of being overworked, underpaid, and trapped. So when someone says, here's a way out, no hard work required, your brain wants it to be true. It needs it to be true. But the reality is brutal. Every truly passive income stream starts as massively active. Rental properties. You're not just collecting rent, you're dealing with repairs, vacancies, tenant drama, lawsuits. Dividend stocks. You need hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions, invested to get meaningful cash flow. Digital products? You're filming, editing, building funnels, writing emails, answering DMs, fighting refund requests. None of this is passive. It's just front-loaded labor disguised with a prettier name.
And I bet the most dangerous part is what happens when people try. They put in the effort, the time, maybe even some money, and then it doesn't deliver. So what happens next? They blame themselves.
Exactly. They internalize failure. They don't realize they were sold an incomplete model. They think, maybe I didn't hustle hard enough. Maybe I'm not built for this. And they quit not just the strategy, but the whole dream of financial independence. But let me be clear. It's not their fault. It's the culture of hype that's broken. A culture that romanticizes escape and hides the effort it takes to actually win.
So what should people be asking instead? Like, if I see someone claiming to make $10,000 per month passively, what's the question that cuts through the noise?
Ask this. What did it take to build it, and what does it take to maintain it? If they can't answer that with transparency, they're probably full of it. And more importantly, ask yourself, does this fit the life I want, or just the income one want? Because passive income without peace is just a second job in prettier clothes.
All right, John, we spent some time tearing down illusions, and I'm glad we did. But let's build something now. Let's give people the real blueprint. What actually works when it comes to building income that's sustainable, even if not 100% passive?
Great question. Here's the truth. There are strategies that create leverage where your time, your skills, your assets start to work for you. But they take longer. They're quieter. They don't go viral. And they require you to become someone different, not just by something different. Let me give you 3 categories that work. 1, skills that compound, like writing, coding, design, communication, or investing. You get better, you earn more, your work scales. 2, assets that pay you. I'm talking about ETFs and index funds, real estate done right, intellectual property you control. 3, systems that reduce dependency. This is about automation, delegation, ownership. You build something that doesn't need you daily but uses your intelligence forever. The key here? None of these happen overnight. But every one of them works if you're willing to work it first.
So what I'm hearing is, it's not about escaping effort. It's about investing effort in the right direction.
Exactly. Stop chasing the shortcut. Start building the path. And here's the beautiful thing, Mike. Once you stop looking for easy, you start finding real.
So let's land this. If someone's listening right now, maybe they've already been burned. They bought into the fantasy. They wasted money. They feel behind. What's your message to them?
You're not broken. You're not late. You're not stupid. You're just waking up. And that moment, that shift where you stop believing the hype and start building your truth, that's the real beginning of wealth. Forget passive income. Aim for purposeful income. Income that you understand, that you control, that aligns with the life you want, not someone else's highlight reel. Because the real trap isn't working hard. It's working hard on something that was never real to begin with.
You know what, John? Let's do something different. Let's give the audience a little challenge, something they can do today that'll open their eyes.
I love that. Here's what I want everyone to try. Homework: tonight, after this episode, sit down for 15 minutes. Grab a pen. Open a doc. Doesn't matter. Write down every passive income idea you've seen in the past 6 months. Courses, reels, ads, whatever. Then ask 3 questions for each. 1, how does this actually make money? 2, what's the upfront cost in time, money, and learning? 3, could I realistically run this every week for the next 6 months without burning out? If you can't answer all 3, it's not passive. It's pressure in disguise.
And if that list ends up empty, good. That means you're finally seeing clearly. That means this episode did its job. And hey, if something on that list does pass the test, now you've got a blueprint, one that's based on clarity, not fantasy.
Exactly. And if you want us to break down those models one by one in a future episode, drop a comment. Send us your list. We'll go through it with you. Because this isn't about shame. It's about strategy. And building income that's real is always worth it.
Thanks for sticking with us through this one. If it hit hard, that's because it was meant to. We're not here to sell dreams. We're here to wake you up and walk with you through the hard truth.
And the truth is, you're not being lazy. You're being lied to. But now, You've got the power to see through it. So subscribe. Share this episode with someone who's caught in the fantasy. And we'll see you next time when we tackle the next big lie keeping you broke. Next episode's called, You're Not Bad with Money, You've Been Set Up to Fail. Trust me, you don't want to miss it.